So then, the new Caldera map for Warzone Pacific is looking mighty spicy, I have to say. It's definitely going to change things up for the mode. Last night, there was this big event for Call of Duty Vanguard, and as part of that, some details about the new map and what the storyline is likely going to be centered around emerged at the same time. So we've got plenty to analyze in this video today. Drop a like if you go on to enjoy, and big shout out to G Fuel because this weekend it's 30% off using my code Westie. So now is the perfect time to stock up on your favorites or try out some new flavors as well. Link is down in the description. Use code Westie, 30% off, and your weekend will be graced with amazing G Fuel flavors. Okay, starting things off, we've got a brand new cinematic that somewhat brings to an end the Cold War storyline, and it sets things up nicely for the switch over to Call of Duty Vanguard. We've got the crew, Mason, Woods, Adler, all coming across this blasted open World War II bunker under the streets of Verdansk. Whilst talking about their disgust for the German regime during World War II, they notice a light on in a room within the bunker. Bursting in, they're met by Captain Butcher of the SOE, the Special Operations Executive. This was a secret British World War II organisation, and they sent out soldiers on espionage, sabotage and recon missions in Europe whilst it was occupied by the Germans during the 1940s. Now Butcher, he has this slightly disfigured face, possibly from some kind of chemical or fire attack, and no doubt this is one of the characters from the Vanguard campaign, making his way into Warzone as an operator. Announcing that they're on the same side, Butcher fills them in on his position in charge of the SOE during the war, and then he mentions Vanguard and how he created it. The crew, they sort of all look at each other. They clearly know what he's on about. Butcher says the work is never done despite the war being over for some 30 or 40 years by this point, and after Berlin, Butcher says his team hunted down German war criminals all across the globe as they tried to escape persecution for their crimes, and all of that started in the Pacific. And Butcher points to an island on the map in front of him, and that is the island of Caldera, the new Warzone map. It's a cool little cinematic, this one. It's a nice crossover into the world of Vanguard. For those that don't know, Caldera isn't going to be set during World War II. That's been confirmed, but right now it's not 100% known which era the map will be set in time. But judging on the link that we have here in this cinematic between the Cold War storyline and Vanguard, I'm going to presume that we're carrying on from the same time period. So we currently exist in the mid-1980s at the end of Cold War, so we're probably going to carry on from that point here. This would actually allow for the new map to support all the different types of weaponry, at least in sort of a function of a story, because all of that weaponry was kind of available at that time. Some of the Modern Warfare stuff might be a little bit too futuristic, but you know, it's conceivable that it could fit into that timeline. And then, of course, we've got all the Cold War guns and now the Vanguard guns as well, so they can kind of all exist together within that storyline. Plus, it's going to keep the timeline running in the right direction for the next COD game, COD 2022, which is rumoured at the moment to be Modern Warfare 2. So the map itself, the one that was being pointed at on the larger map, here it is. It was shown off last night during that Activision Cold War Vanguard livestream. It's all sort of mashed together, but it was a big reveal for Vanguard at any rate. But the map was revealed last night, and it does look completely different to what we have right now in Verdansk. First of all, obviously, we are going to a Pacific island. We're now surrounded by water, as opposed to on Verdansk, which has just one coastline, but the rest of the map has those out-of-bound zones that you can't go any further through. Whether this means we're going to see any proper combat around the water's edge, or the ability to maybe swim on this new Warzone map, that remains to be seen. But there have been a couple of screenshots released for Caldera that show rivers running through the map, so perhaps just coming into contact with water may no longer be the death sentence that it was in Verdansk. And we've got plenty of POIs here. They're all placed in a very different way to Verdansk, with most of them sitting around the edges of the island and only a few of them in the centre. And if you look at the map overall, we've actually got a skew more towards the north of the map in terms of named POIs. And again, that's a switch up from Verdansk, which actually has a really busy southern section. We've got downtown, Promenade, Hills down there, Port and Prison over the far side. And then you guess you could say like Factory and Superstore. They're kind of like in the middle but southern part of the map. There's a huge amount going on in the southern part of Verdansk, but here on Caldera, it looks like a lot of it is going to be happening up in the north, so a completely different change. We do have City Capital on the south coast, and that's probably going to be one of the larger POIs on the map. I mean, if it's the capital of the island, I think it's going to be a bit more built up than like Farms, for example. To have it standing a little bit further out from the rest of the POIs is probably going to balance that drop point. Then we've got the fishing village and ancient structures over to the west. We've got naval shipyard and ore processing docks to the north. Then beach defences and submarine base over to the east of the island. There is actually one more hidden POI in the northeast corner of the map, and it's covered by a jacket that was laid close to the map during the live stream. A little bit frustrating, but this could be part of the beach defences, but since it has its own label jutting out into the water, it's going to be called something different, so I think it's going to be its own point of interest. And then in towards the centre of the map, we've got 4 more POIs. We've got the volcano, which sits as one of the higher points on Caldera. Then we've got Taro Farms, and that sits to the north of another large hill or a mountain, we're not sure. Airport comes complete with a runway and loads of outhouses. And then we've got the phosphor mines to the northwest. And this might be linked to the ore processing docks, considering it's a mine, and any material that's being mined will need to be moved to the coast so that it can be shipped out. Now, in terms of scale, down in the bottom right-hand corner of the image, you can actually see a scale that says 1 inch is equal to 1/8 of a mile. And Raven has already confirmed that Caldera is going to be roughly the same size play space as Verdansk. So I'd expect similar distances between the POIs relative to their position on the island here. But what this entire layout means for gameplay is that dropping onto the map is going to be a vastly different experience to Verdansk. Right now, we have lots of players still 18 months down the line going from normal Verdansk to Verdansk 84. Lots of players just drop into the center of the map near downtown, stadium, factory, superstore, and airport. And I've got a feeling that with a lot of the POIs on Caldera being pushed out to the coast, we're going to see a lot more edge dropping, and then players and teams moving across the map as the circle moves. Now, this could be a really good tactical move from Raven to try and spread players out more at the start of the map, keep more players alive during those earlier, larger circles, and not ending up with just like 30 or 25 players left by the end of Circle 2, which is the case with Verdansk. This is one of my biggest criticisms of the current map. People just die off so damn fast that you spend a lot of time waiting around in Circles 3 and 4 for the last few remaining people to kind of come together and then create those gunfight situations. So if Caldera is going to try and fix that by spreading people out further at the beginning of the map and maybe evening out the death rate across the circles rather than everyone dying in Circle 1 and then most people dying in Circle 4 and 5 at the end of the game, if we can get a more even amount of people being killed and moving out of the game through Circles 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, all the way down to the really small ones, then that would be a really good improvement. I think that's what Raven are trying to do. Whether it actually works is another question, and we'll find out in a month or so if that does actually work. So overall, I'm really liking the look of this new Warzone map, and I really hope it freshens up the Warzone experience again, because pretty much since Verdansk 84 was introduced, my interest in playing Warzone regularly has been dropping steadily over time. I thought the Halloween update from a couple of weeks ago might rekindle some of my interest because of the Halloween event that we had in 2020, which was just, it was absolutely insane and chaotic, but I could pretty much use any gun I wanted and just have a really good time playing Warzone for a few weeks. Unfortunately, this year, the Halloween update didn't hit the same sort of spot. I just played it for one night and then sort of settled back into playing once a week with my friends. And whilst playing once a week with your friends might sound normal to you guys, I'm a content creator and I play games like this for a living, so you'd hope that I'd be interested in playing this game almost every single day with my friends, but that hasn't been the case for quite some time now. I want this new map to be really good so that I can get back into playing with my friends again. Stod, Jack, Lackey, Broken Machine, Tomo, all dropping in together, experiencing the new map, the new guns, the story, and just having fun like we did back in 2020. Like I said, ever since the Cold War integration, my interest in Warzone has steadily declined, and over the last couple of months, it really has fallen off. Season 4 and Season 5 in Warzone were just, well, they were basically dead. There was nothing really going on. Season 6 has picked up a little bit because of the integration with Vanguard, and I'm generally more interested in finding out what's going on. But I really hope that if Caldera can bring back my excitement to play with my friends, I will be playing Warzone a hell of a lot more, and I think the map will be a success in my eyes if it's able to do that. Okay, there you go. That's about everything we know right now about the new Warzone map. It's looking good. I'm excited for it, and of course also we have the Ricochet anti-cheat dropping alongside the new map as well, which will hopefully go a long way to solving Warzone's cheater problem. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and I'll catch you in the next one.